Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will briefly discuss the astrological circumstances that might lead to World War III. We will then discuss how this world war can be averted, or at least how it can be isolated to a smaller portion of the planet and confine it to the current hot zones. So let's get started. On this slide, I have included a chart which shows us the picture of the skies in London, United Kingdom at midday on 29th March 2025. Now, why is this date and time important? Well, at this time, Saturn will enter the sign of Pisces after 30 years. Furthermore, this transit of Saturn into Pisces is occurring just 1 hour after an almost total solar eclipse, which will also have occurred in Pisces. During a solar eclipse, the moon doesn't reflect the sun's light back to Earth, but rather blocks the sunlight from reaching Earth. This image shows the areas on the planet that will be significantly affected by the solar eclipse. Furthermore, Saturn will be entering an already crowded sign of Pisces where the Sun, Venus, Mercury, Rahu, Moon and Neptune are already present. Of these planets, Mercury, Venus and Rahu will be in retrograde motion. Now, while all the planets in Pisces will absorb the energies of Pisces and affect events on Earth, the main game changer is Rahu, the daredevil. If we recall the month of May 2023, when Jupiter crossed Rahu, the Democrats targeted Donald Trump from all angles. This is because Rahu is a daredevil and it swallowed Jupiter and manipulated its energy while in the sign of Aries. Hence, the Democrats found the courage to target Donald Trump with false allegations in an attempt to destroy his chances of running for president. This time, however, Rahu will be swallowing Saturn on 12th April 2025. As a result, all the cases against Donald Trump will start disappearing. In fact, as soon as Saturn started moving forward towards Pisces from 16th November 2024, we noticed that the cases against Donald Trump started falling apart. By the time Rahu crosses Saturn on 12th April 2025, all cases against Donald Trump will have disappeared. Now, all of this is well and good for Donald Trump, but what does this have anything to do with World War III? Sure, let's find out. As we know, Pisces is the final sign in the zodiac and contains two stars, Purva Bhadrapada and Revati. The second star, Revati, is symbolized by a pair of fish and relates to spiritual awakening and the wisdom of knowing the pros and cons of a subject. The sign of Pisces as a whole is generally represented by the symbol of Revati rather than Purva Bhadrapada. Now imagine this knowledge of good and evil belonging to Revati falling into the wrong hands. What might they do with it? So Rahu entered Pisces from Aries at the start of November 2023 and has filled itself with the energy of Revati because it always travels in retrograde motion. It transited this star until July 2024. On 8 July 2024, it entered the star of Purva Bhadrapada, which is the star that relates to deception and war. Hence, we can expect Rahu to use its knowledge of the pros and cons of a subject that it obtained from Revati to deceitfully or forcefully achieve its objectives. We have already seen Rahu in action since it entered Purva Bhadrapada on 8 July. Since then, Israel has assassinated Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Pagers have exploded in Lebanon, disabling Hezbollah's operational readiness and allowing Israel to launch a ground offensive into Lebanon. Recently, Assad's regime in Syria also fell, and Israel has claimed credit for this downfall. Furthermore, Israel is now feeling emboldened to attack Iran's nuclear installations. These events are showing the daredevil nature of Rahu. So why has Rahu's transit through Pisces impacted Israel more than any other nation on earth? Well, Pisces is the sign where Venus is exalted, and Venus represents Israel, or the Jewish community. Israel's flag contains a six-pointed star. As per numerology, Venus is represented by the number 6. Now, even though Venus is not in Pisces, Rahu's transit through Pisces is enhancing the energy of Pisces and transmitting this energy to Earth. Hence, we have seen Israel in action since Rahu entered the influence zone of Pisces on 12th October 2023. Now, when Venus enters the influence zone of Pisces after 26 January 2025, it will come into direct contact with Rahu. Whenever Venus and Rahu come together, major events take place. For example, every 18 years, whenever Venus transits Rahu in the sign of Gemini, huge explosions take place. Here are two examples. In the first one, Saturn was also in Gemini and hence the results were devastating. In the most recent event, only Venus and Rahu were present and hence the results weren't as devastating despite the size of the explosion. However, this time they are coming together in Pisces instead of Gemini. As Pisces is the exaltation sign of Venus, it will be well behaved while transiting this sign. Unfortunately, Venus will start moving retrograde from 2nd March 2025 and hence will no longer be giving the results of exaltation from this date onwards. Coming back to our current topic on World War, we can expect Rahu's attitude to change when it swallows Saturn on 12th April 2025. As Saturn is the planet that represents democracy and is the creator of agencies such as the United Nations as well as NATO, we can expect these organizations to malfunction under the influence of the daredevil Rahu, who has already swallowed another 5 planets before it will swallow Saturn on 12th April 2025. When these established agencies lose their credibility, anarchy and chaos are sure to ensue. Furthermore, because Rahu is in Purva Bhadrapada, the star of deception and wars, we can expect an attempt by some nations to trigger wars for their personal benefits without realizing that the war will spiral out of control and turn into a devastating world war in the near future. So what can we do to avert a devastating war, or at least prevent the existing wars from spreading to other parts of the globe? The solution is simple. The United States, which is the cradle of democracy, is represented by Saturn. Hence, if the United States were to pull out of NATO before Rahu swallows Saturn on 12th April 2025, then Rahu won't be able to expand the existing wars from the current hot zones by dragging the US into these wars. As we have seen in recent years, too many countries have joined NATO, and since then, these countries have been taunting Russia fearlessly. Currently, Russia's patience is running thin, and it is only a matter of time before it decides enough is enough. If the United States were to remain in NATO, it will be drawn into a war with Russia by these members who have their own personal selfish agendas. Hence, it is quite important for the United States to leave NATO and create a balance of power so that other countries may coexist on this planet without fear. This action will significantly reduce Rahu's ability to expand wars through fear-mongering. In order to keep the video short, I did not go into the details of each planet impacting Pisces and Rahu, their aspects, conjunctions, in various astrological charts that will affect upcoming events across the globe at national and international levels. As long as President Trump pulls the United States out of NATO before Saturn enters Pisces, the war in the Middle East and Ukraine will not spread to other parts of the world. While Europe will feel insecure as a result of this exit, they will start taking responsibility for their actions and stop unnecessarily poking the bear. I hope you found this video informative. Please feel free to watch my other videos on astrology, health, and well-being. Thank you.